Hi guys, welcome to Dupi Animations. So I just realized that it's been a while since I've done a Cinema 4D tutorial. So today I've decided to switch from After Effects to C4D. Okay, let's do some fun animation in C4D, Cinema 4D. All right, I call it the Easter egg animation. All right, so not to waste time, let's open Cinema 4D. Mind you, I'm using Cinema 4D R21, but this animation can be done with the lower versions too. Okay. All right. So to start, let's model our egg. Let me switch to orthographic view, then select the right side. Okay. So let me go for the spline tool. Okay. Or the spline pen. Then maybe let me click here, somewhere here, then here, then here. The right click there to end it. Okay. Now let me go for the selection tool, then come to spline on the menu bar, then come to tangents, then select or just click on the heading here to disconnect it. Okay. So just disconnect it. Then click select a point, then select soft interpolation. Okay. Then click here, then select soft interpolation. Now we are going to manipulate the points. Now they are curves. So let me go for the scale tool. Let me pull it here. Let me go for the move tool or selection tool, then pull this down. So you see the egg, the top there is a little bit pointy whilst the bottom is big. So that's kind of that. So that's the perception that we are going to do here. Okay, so something similar like that. All right. So we have our curve for the egg. All right. Now watch this. Now let's go to the active view. So this the curve that we are going to use to do the egg. Okay. Let's select the nerves. Let's go for the nerves and select the last nerve. This one. Okay. So all that you have to do is just drag the spline into it. Then voila, you have formed your egg. Okay. Okay, for this I need to polish it a bit. See that there is kind of a little bumpy on the top there, but let's forget about it. So when creating yours, polish the egg a bit. All right. So I'll use this as the egg for the animation. Okay. All right. Now I've created some patterns in Photoshop that I'm going to apply on. Okay. So where is it? Okay. I have some patterns here. You see this? Different patterns that I've created here in Photoshop that are used for the animation. Okay, so just double click inside the material window, then open it. Then where the color is, just come to the texture. Okay, so I've selected my material. Let me off the reflectance. Now click and drag the material onto the left. Then you have this. See that? Okay. So after applying the material, if you don't want the stripes to be vertical, you can select the material, then come to projection, the UVW mapping, then change it to what? Spherical. Then you have something like this. Okay. All right. Now let's go to the menu bar to simulate, then select emitter from particles. Okay. Let me close this. So you have emitter here. So now let's move the emitter upwards. Okay. Let's see. Let me move it upwards. Then come to the emitter attributes, emitter. The X size, let me put it to something like 400. Okay. 400 by 400 or so. I think let me put this one at 600. the X size 600 and the bottom one, the Y size 400. Okay, so that's okay. Now let's apply floor. Let me set in the floor. So we have set in the floor. Okay, let me move the emitter upwards. Now after inserting in the floor, right click on the floor, then come to simulation tag, rigid body. Okay, select rigid body, or you can just use a collider. Okay, just select a collider. That will also work. Where is it? Collider body. Okay, that will also work. Okay, all right. Now the last nib, right click on it, then on simulation tags, apply rigid body. Okay, now drag the last nib into the emitter. Okay, then on the emitter, come to its attributes, then let me see, particles. Where it says particles, select show objects. Okay, so you have something like this. Let's see. You see that? You see? So let's increase the frame to something like 290. So now let's see what we have. Okay. All right. Now let's work on it more. So now let's come to the emitter still. Birth rate editor. Let me leave it at 10, then birth rate render to 10. Visibility 100% here. Okay. Let me see. So let me change this one here. The speed. Let me go something like 900. Okay, let me make it 850. 850. I think the 850 for the speed is okay. All right. Let me see. Okay, I think this is okay. It's coming out more. Okay. Okay. So let me change stop emission. Stop emission at something like 300. So let's see what we have. See, it will keep on moving. See that? So basically, this is how I did the egg, the starting diameter. You see? Okay. Now for the materials, let me apply another material. Hold the control key, then click and drag to duplicate. Then let me apply another material here. Let me apply this one. Okay. To add the different materials to the egg, just duplicate the egg in the emitter, hold the control key, then click and drag to duplicate. Okay. Then click on the material, then release it on top of the one there to replace it. So you see that? You see that? Now let's see what we have for the first animation of the egg. You see? So you can insert in more eggs. Okay, so you can insert in more eggs. All right. So anytime, all that you have to do is just hold the command key, then click and drag to duplicate. Then maybe apply a different material to it. That's all. Okay. All right. So now let's create the second one, which is the writing. Okay. We are still going to use the egg to do that animation. So let me just duplicate one egg here. Let me off the emitter here first. Okay. So now let's write something. Something like, let's see. Let's go for the test 2. The test spline. Okay. Where is it? Where is it? Let me type Happy Easter. Happy. Let me enter. Easter. Or you can type my Easter egg. Let me leave it as 100. Let me move it up. Let me center it. That's middle. So this is okay. Let me close the gap, the vertical gap within it a bit. Okay, so we have this. Okay. So this is what we are going to do. Mind you, if you want to use, you can use any shapes to do this. It can be either spherical, box, or any of the polygons here to do this kind of animation. But if you want to maintain the egg to do this, you have to reduce the size of the egg. So let me reduce the size by reducing the spline. Let me select object first. So let me reduce the spline 0.4 on the spline egg. I think this is even is still too big. So let me go 0.2. Okay. All right. Now the test, let's choose an appropriate test for this. So let me see. What test are we going to use? I need a thin test. Which one is this? Railway thin. Okay, perfect. This one will do. Remember always to select a thin test. Okay. Okay, so now we have the egg and the test. So from here, let's go to the MoGraph and select cloner. All right. Now click and drag the last nerve into the cloner. So you have something like this. Then on cloner, come to object, then change from linear to object. That's for the mode. Then click and drag the text to fill the object column here. Okay. So it will give you a text attribute here that you have to work with. So on distribution count, select steps. Then the steps, let's go something like 3 centimeters. Okay. Then uncheck the per segment. All right. That way, by unchecking the per segment, it will start the writing from the H. Other than that, each of the letters will be writing on their own. Okay. So you have, to animate it, you use the end here. You see? Okay. So now let's set the animation key. So on 0, hold the control key, then set a key on the stopwatch. Then come something like 100 or 110. Then type 100%. Okay. Then end the animation. All right. Now, instead of the egg alone, let's add other polygons to it too. So let's come to polygons here, then select something like the capsule here. Then the size, let me make it something like 8. Then the height, something like, let me see, 10. 15, let me see. Then the radius, I think the radius is okay. So I'm coming, let me add some materials here. Let me add the material to it first and let's see. Okay, so I have this material here. So let me apply it to the capsule. Okay, then add it to the cloner. Click and drag it inside the cloner here. So you have the last nerve, which is the egg and the capsule. All right. So on the last nerve, right click on it, then come to dynamics. That's simulation tag. Then select rigid body. Okay. Then select the capsule to right click on it, simulation tag, rigid body. Then on the last nerve, select its dynamics, then come to force. Then on follow position, change from 0 to 6. All right. Now let's play it and see what we have. You see that it's writing. It's writing whilst the capsule is being the particle that's being dripped. Okay. So now let's reduce some of the X within the writings. So select the cloner, then come to MoGraph effector, then select random effector. Okay. So on random effector, come to the parameter, then uncheck the position, then check the scale. Okay. Then on scale, select uniform scale. Then let's go something like 0.5. 0.5 for the scale. Now let's see. All right. So you see that it's writing all right, but the only problem here is that the egg is too big. Okay. So let's reduce the egg here, which is the spline. Let's come to the coordinates. Then it says here 0.1. So let's reduce it more to 0.9 or 0.6. 0.6 is okay. 0.06. And let's see what we have. Okay, so this is okay. So this is okay. If you feel that it's still too big for you, you can still reduce it. So let me go something like 0.4. 0.4 will make it tiny. So let's see. Okay. So I think this is okay. My system is a bit slow, so let's wait for it whilst it's finished. So you see that we have used the egg to write the Happy Easter. With the particles dripping, let's create a floor whereby when it drips, it falls onto the floor. Okay, so you just have to come to the tools here, then select floor. Okay, then on the floor, right click on the floor, then select something like a dynamic tag, collider. A collider would do, collider body. So now let's see what we have. You see now the particles are dripping onto it. All right, guys. So basically, this is how I created the Easter egg animation. All right. Okay. All right, guys. So this comes to the end of our tutorial. So kindly like and subscribe to the channel for more tutorials to come.